Joining us are Carol Giacomo from the New York Times editorial board and a new guest, Joel Rosenthal, the president of the Carnegie Council, an organization that promotes what it calls ethical values in international affairs. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Let's start, first of all, by talking about this ongoing discussion within the Obama administration about troop increases to Afghanistan. Do you see this as a healthy debate, or, I mean, do you see it as a sign of a division within the administration?
Look, there are always divisions in every administration, but this is a healthy debate. I mean, you have to, we're at war, and the issues of war, there are no more important issues than war and peace in the country. And it seems to me that the debate within the Obama administration is one that we really lacked insufficiency when the Bush administration went into Iraq, and we might have had a better policy. We may not have even gone into Iraq if we had a fuller debate. So this is all to the good.
Joel, I mean, do you think that sort of ethical considerations are sort of being brought into how this story is being reported, or how the strategy is being defined? I mean, do you find enough of that in terms of the
I'm seeing
overall
more and
mission?
more. I'm seeing more and more. First of all, I agree with Carol. I think it's a very important debate, and I think it's being had right now at the right level. And I think in the next couple of weeks we'll see more. But the most important thing from an ethical perspective is the change in strategy that has been discussed in light of General McChrystal's forthcoming report. And that strategy
should be more of an emphasis on protecting civilians as well as the military strategy.
Right. He's bringing with him the Petraeus, now McChrystal approach to counterinsurgency, which focuses on public security, which focuses on protecting civilians, which focuses on taking the Afghan point of view, protecting people. You know, imagine yourself, he's saying to our soldiers, imagine yourself in a small town or a small city having foreign troops come into your town.
Right, and the other big question in Afghanistan are these mounting allegations of voter fraud. What do you think that this means for our relationship with Afghanistan vis-a-vis the sort of wider issue of democracy and alliances? Just very briefly, because I want to talk about the Japanese election as well. So just what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's a serious problem as well, because if Hamid Karzai wins and he is seen as having been elected in a fraudulent manner, his government will be illegitimate and will be more difficult for him to do things and more difficult for us to work with him.
Do you see it going to a runoff?
Right, I do not. It looks like Karzai will win. I think he wins regardless. That's the conventional wisdom. But democracy is messy, and Afghanistan in some ways is just getting started. The level of fraud is alarming, but let us remember that there's fraud in virtually every election, even in quite developed countries.
Okay, well, let's move on to the other election, which we want to talk about in Japan, an overwhelming mandate there for the Democratic Party. What do you think that change of government means for us, for its alliances with the United States? Carol?
Well, the man who's the presumptive prime minister has indicated that he wants to have a more independent relationship with the United States and that he wants to have closer ties with Asia. It's not so bad for Japan to have a more independent and be a stronger partner with the United States. If independence means that it's going to be more willing to take better positions, stronger leadership positions, both in terms of its own economy and its own country and foreign policy, that's to the good. And trying to reduce tensions with its Asian neighbors would also be a very positive development.
Do you think that is as a result of sort of decades of conservative rule, that perhaps Japan became isolated within Asia and now it seems to want to sort of realign itself more with that part of the world without compromising its relationship with the United States? Is it possible to do both?
Japan is seeking its place in the East Asian regional structure, and to the extent that it can grow and change and evolve with its own voice. I think it's in alignment with American interests overall, and that the sort of the gyroscope of common interests and common values
and
between
the
US
Prime
and
Minister designate did have an opinion piece which appeared in the New York Times editorial column, and he sort of spoke in a sort of a roundabout way of, you know, where he sees the relationship with the United States going. I mean, was there anything of interest in that to you? I mean, is it going to be sort of a radical overhaul of certain things, or we just need to make some adjustments in terms of how Japan may be relating to its Asian neighbors, most importantly China?
If you look at that piece, it does seem very muscular. You know, he takes on American-led globalization. He says, you know, this has been totally wrong. We really have to focus more on people. You can't have unfettered capitalist markets. But he also says in that piece, and he has since reassured the Obama administration, that he intends to have a close alliance with the United States, which is a bedrock of Asia. You have to remember about Japan, the bandwidth for change in that country is very narrow. It does not have a tradition of radical change. So I think that we will see change. He has to focus more on his domestic economy, first of all. And I don't think you're going to see wide gyrations in foreign policy.
Okay, Carol, Giacomo, Joel Rosenthal, thank you very much.
Thank
both
you.
of you. Thank you.